My name is Mark Anthony Dubose Jr. I was born July 4th, 1986. I don't say thank you for tuning in. Today, I'm talking about something that is very strange, very challenging. I don't know why it's so challenging, because I used to, watch those like olden movies and see old pictures of us back in like the 1800s, 1700s, 1900s, 1600s. Not the late 1900s, but the early 1900s. But just like pictures of just like, people just sitting on the front porch swing, just sitting there, just swinging. Just swinging. No talking, no reading, no books, books and reading, same. No movies, no music, no radio even. Just sitting there swinging for hours in a day. Why is it so hard today to just sit in silence? I've been sitting here for the past maybe 20 minutes, just listening to the cars. Something even interesting about the cars is, because I used to do this. We have this like trouble with sitting in silence so much that we have to like put loud exhaust and stuff on our cars just to make noise so that we're not just quiet. Everything around is like making more noise, instead of just being quiet and just silent and just able to just sit there and not be in a sense of I need to like get into something, but just sit and be. Just be in silence. Why is that so hard? What's going on with us that's hard? As opposed to, I could just see videos and pictures of people that were just, that was life. Hanging out. That was life of just reading a letter that took 3 months to get and then get a response 3 months later. And like that's your, in reality, biggest form of entertainment outside of just doing your chores and your work. But people will go do their chores and do their work just to come home to sit in silence. As opposed to coming home to like just going further into chaos. Just scrambling and rampaging, gotta this and gotta this and gotta watch this and gotta listen to this and gotta get on this and gotta do this and gotta get this and just scramble. This absolute rampage. Instead of like coming home to silence. Why is that so hard? Why is it such a challenge? Because to me, the only thing that I can say is it's hard because it's needed. It's hard because it's required. It's hard because that's how you actually get to learn about who you are. To be able to just be alone by yourself. Not even just say being alone, but be with people, but with people in silence even. Like we don't need to be laughing and joking and chit-chatting, but just sit there and be with each other. Sit there and hang out. And just enjoy that moment. It's hard because it's needed. That's needed for us to be able to learn more, to be able to get into a better place. Because we're in my opinion, we're just like constantly flooding our brain with stuff all the time. Just constant on constant. That you don't have a chance to actually like ask your own self questions of like, what am I doing? Why do I want to do this? Why am I going here? Why am I still doing that? As soon as you get a question like that, you're like, oh, I got to escape. I got to bring something in to get me to get out of that mindset, because that mindset is hard. It could, in reality, straight up throw you into like a depression or something, because it gets your thoughts in there. So instead of just like going into it to get through it, to get past it, so that you can finally just be able to like, get, best way of saying it is thicker skin with being able to deal with the problems. We're just like running away from the problems like crazy today. This was just sitting in it. I got a problem, and just sit in it in silence, complete silence. Your mind starts to just go crazy with certain thoughts of like, you're no good, this ain't good, you ain't gonna make it, that's gonna happen, this person's this person, but just like shut it off. Shut it up. Say, shut up, homie. And then just sit there in silence. And say to that, like, I'm not dealing with that. I'm just gonna go forward into this. More and more people today are struggling in ways that I can't help. And I wouldn't even want to be able to put it on me to be able to help, because it's just too much for me to bear. So many people are, God, the numbers today are like outrageous with like how many people are on some sort of prescription medication right now. It's like 75% of people, I think, is what it is. Someone is taking something. 75% of folks is taking something. And in my opinion, it's because we're just running away from actually dealing with it. We'll take that so that I don't have to deal with that problem, so that I can go ahead and go over there and just keep the madness going. As opposed to the hard thing that can really heal most all of us is to sit in that silence. Sit in it and deal with it and just accept that. This sucks. But your life is what it is because of what you're doing to it. The way that you're running around and trying to like get into more and dabbling into this, dabbling into that and trying to do this, as opposed to just getting to the core of why am I even doing all of this? You're just gonna keep, in my opinion, just keep getting worse and worse and worse. This is a life that I've lived this life like crazy. Always having to do something. It's like me, I got projects. I'm a crafty person. I got projects. I do craft stuff. I sew some stuff. I do paper stuff. I love paper origami stuff. I love just making things. And then when I'm not making stuff like that, I'm like, I got to be on the music side. I got to be making something. I got to be doing this all the time. When I'm not doing that, I've got to be out here like creating something. I got to put some chicken coop up or a fence up, or I got to do something. And if I'm not doing that, I got to be over and I got to, what's the other stuff? I start obsessively cleaning, just cleaning and just clean. It's just like, it's not right how clean everything is. And I just keep going and going and going. And if I'm not doing that, then I just have to sit down and like watch a whole bunch of YouTube videos or something to just stay in it. If I'm not doing that, I've got to go back to cleaning. I got to go back to crafts. I got to go back to building. I got to go back to something. I got to go for a walk. I got to go for a run. I got to go for this. I got to do this. I got to do that. Always having to like just run off to go do something. This is just my life. And I just realized I just can't keep running away. And it's interesting. I like that term, running away, because that's something that I've been recently getting myself into, is running. And I was always asking myself, like, why am I running so hard to just destroy myself? What's going on? And I had to really think, like, what am I running away from? That I'm constantly doing that, just going, as opposed to just sit down, shut up and sit in silence to figure out, like, why am I doing all that? Why am I always everywhere, in everything? Why am I always I have to be in dabbling something like literally every 2 seconds. I have 2 seconds that it's just like, just silence going on for 2 seconds. Oh, I gotta go into this, as opposed to just shut up and sit in it. Just sit in it. Just sit there and deal with it. There's weird things that's been going on in my life recently that I've been going deeper and deeper and deeper into, just say, the running. And for the first time in my life, I'm not first time in my running back again, I'm hurt. I can't run right now. And it's been a hard toll on me in reality, because I want to go run. I want to go do that. And then when something happened, it's like my body's not feeling right. And I'm like, I can't say physically do it as much as I want anymore. It's like, now what? Now almost as if like I I got divorced or something. And they just left, and they just left you for nothing. And then you're just sitting there like, dang, like, I'm all alone again now. I had that, but now I'm all alone again now. It's interesting that all these little things are kind of like that. Just, I don't know about you, but in my life, that it's like I'm going off to do all these things. And then when I don't have it, it's like, oh, you're all alone again now. Look at you. Boo-hoo. Go get into that instead now. This is the first thing that I said. Okay, well, I'm not able to run as much anymore. So I'm like, let me just walk more. I'm like, no. Then I was like, no, let me not walk more. Okay, let me just go back to, let's go over here now instead. Like I just already, this past couple of weeks have been like everywhere else, as opposed to just saying, there's a reason why this is going on right now. And the reason that I could say is to just kind of slap me in the face and say, Mark, sit down and shut up. Sit down. Stop thinking you need to be in everything, and just sit down and figure out, what do you actually really want to be in? Where do you actually really want to go? And not even because of me. You know, I dig deeper than that. I don't rely on myself. That's where the Christ in me starts to change. That's where I pray and ask on that. That's where God is able to push me and pull me into where it is that he wants me to go to. That's where I rely on that. That's where I can't hear that, because I'm always just going. And I'm sad over here. I'm angry over there. That's one thing that I'll never forget. The pastor man, he said some powerful stuff to me. Any man that has anger in them is a murderer, because anger can lead you to do something as if take a life, because it could just start to, someone could push you and push you and push you to you just go. And then you could do something that you don't even mean. You could push someone, you could hit someone, you could punch. So many people are in prison for life right now because they punched somebody, because they said something about their girlfriend. and he punched him just the right way. He fell and he died. If you got anger in you, you're not going to be able to actually learn about who you are. And that's what, in reality, I could say most of what I'm always running away from. Why am I running to the point, I'm running these races. I'm not doing no 2, 3, 5, 6 miles. I'm doing 20, 30. I'm trying to get into 100-mile racing. I'm questioning, why do I want to do a 100-mile run? Knowing that I'm going to be broke down after it. Knowing that every day out here, I'm running, 8 to 16 miles a day at this point right now. Why am I out here doing that so much to just destroy myself? Get myself just beat down, sore as all could be, barely can move, can't even bend over, barely put my socks on. I'm struggling just because I'm just training to get faster, to just run more. But for what reason? Am I literally abusing myself? Why am I abusing myself by watching YouTube video after video after video after video about stuff that's just nonsense, that's just meaningless to me in my life, that I'm just abusing myself by just cleaning and cleaning and cleaning and cleaning and cleaning, just hurting and destroying myself. Hurting myself by just making, I don't know what it is with me, but I love origami things, but I don't like making it. So if they tell you to use like a 10 by 10 sheet, I like turn that 10 by 10 sheet into like a 1 by 1. So I like making little micro things. So I'm sitting here using tweezers and toothpicks and just making these folds and I don't know why I do this stuff, but it's like I'm abusing myself of forcing myself to have to get so detailed that it just doesn't make any sense, that it's like crazy of me in reality to sit here and be so detailed. What am I running away from? Not being able to just sit in silence and just sit there. That's the part of me that I believe gets more complicated in life. Especially just with how the world wants to view what it is that my main core of what I talk about is. Just trying to get closer to the understanding of who the God of the planet is. There's a lot of folks out here that are that's the stupidest thing, that's just meaningless, that's nothing. But if you're living in this world that you're just living in frustration, living in anxiety, living in anger, living in fear, living in lack, and loneliness, and despair, living in strife, living in chaos. Chaos is what I see out here today. It's why would you want to continue to keep on living in that? And then the second that you try to get out of it, because when we're living, we're going, you're doing. You just get consumed in it. That's why we can't sit and settle. Because that's the understanding that I know of where God is, in the calm, in the silence. Silence. The dead of the silence is where God is. God's not in the hustle and bustle of all the everything. He's in the silence. In the nothingness that's going on. No rampage of thoughts that are happening. He's not in your thoughts like that. This part, every time I hear someone say to me, oh, God was talking to me. God doesn't speak. He doesn't know language like we. Our language is meaningless. He doesn't speak. He's in the silence. He's in the nothingness. And anybody that believes in that Bible, that's what started. God was nothingness that came to the void of the nothingness of this planet and then put something out onto it. The nothingness. He's in the silence, just the absolute calm stillness. The no hustle, the no chaos, the no nothing, in the dead of silence. And that's why I can see it's hard to be in the silence, especially of today. Because everything is trying to get everyone to get away from that and to stay in that chaos, as opposed to learning how to get into that sense of peace, getting away from that anger. It's the anger that I see today that is just devastating. Devastating. That's stuff that I grew up with. Seeing anger on a day-to-day, all-day type basis, just anger, frustration, and rage. And then I get older and I realize wow, I got that same anger, frustration, rage. And then I start to really pay attention to more people around me. I'm like, wow, most every single person that I know has this same anger, rage behind them. People in my YouTube comments, anger and rage. Oh my goodness, especially videos I used to make before. People are just, you could just see the rage and the anger in people. Just typing away, you're just angry. So angry. So mean, so just can't find any sort of peace. You have to stay in that anger to keep sustaining yourself. Because if you try to get away from it, to try to sit in silence, you're going to go crazy, but you're only going to go crazy because that's, in my opinion, why and how everyone out here, we're rejecting the God. We're rejecting him. I meet so many people that are like, praise Jesus, hallelujah, my brother in Christ. And I see the lifestyle that they got, and I'm like, oh no, we don't live the same type of stuff here. I'm not the same as you. Don't even call me your brother. I'm not your brother. I'm not your brother. I'm not nothing like that with you. What's going on over there? Because these people just don't know how to settle. That's one thing I say. Everybody got all the right answers, but they can't live it. Everybody can fix your problems, but they can't do nothing about fixing their own. But yet they got all the answers to how to help you. And the only reason, this is unfortunate, I'm going to say straight up, almost at 100%. This is why for me, I'm not here to help you. I could guide you to the one that can help you. Christ can help you. I can't help you. Because the moment that I come in to try to help you is a moment that I'm trying to control you. I'm trying to tell you to do it and to be said like me. But you have to figure out your own path, your own way, your own everything. That's why for me, I've been struggling a lot, especially with like old stuff, not even old stuff, just old stuff, I'll say, of watching YouTube videos and stuff. Just people trying to give me advice on how to do this and how to change this and how to get that done and how to make this happen. And I'm sitting here trying to follow it. But in reality, all they're doing is trying to control me to do and be them as opposed to being me. And that's a concept of why most people, and depending on where you are in your health status, I guess I can say, of just your mental health status, how secure you are as a person, or how egocentric you are as a person, most advice that you get from people, especially a close person, especially a family member, you do the opposite of it. You do the opposite of it because you don't want to be controlled. And you do the opposite of it because you think that you know better, but yet you're asking for help, but yet you know the answer. So why are you asking for help? That's the part, again, that we're just busy. We can't just sit down and just shut up. We can't just sit. We can't stay in silence. You got to be going everywhere. You got to be asking people questions of answers that you don't even want to even know the answer to. You just talking just to talk. You get on the phone just to do it. You go hang around people just to hang around them. You go get into extra work just so that you can have something to hold on to say, I need this. As opposed to realizing the main thing, the main message behind Jesus is stop focusing and stop caring so much on this said material possessions and this material stuff and this material things on this planet. Let it go. Let it go. Let it all go. Just allow it to just be there. Be cool to use, cool to interact with, but it's just there. It's not what makes you. Because that's where, for sure, you're not able to sit in silence because you need something. Silence? I mean, that's like, how much does it cost to sit in silence? Someone would say, oh, I need work, I need this, I need food. But that's the part of, this is what's cool about what God is all about. Because he says he'll give that to you. But when we're out trying to get it ourselves, that's where we're being busybodies. That's where we're angry. That's where we're frustrated. That's where we're anxious. But when you are able to sit back, this is the thing of like, especially like old stuff, 15, 16, 17, seeing those pictures of the people just sitting on the swings, just living on their farms, doing what they was doing. Because that's what every single person did at that time, for the most part. They weren't focused on, I need 18 vacation homes. I need 15 cars. I need 50 husbands and 50 wives. I need a vacation every weekend. They're focused on just doing what in reality was designed for them to do, what God intended them to do. And straight up, they're going to live a much more peaceful life. Whereas today, we think that things are so much better. I'd say, hey, I can research and learn, and I got cool stuff on my phone that I can get instant access to. But is that actually helping? Is that actually a good thing? Is that actually what's making everything worse? Thinking that you want more information, that someone else is going to be able to teach you more information, as opposed to you just going to silence and asking for the information that you're actually looking for. Looking for the work that you're actually supposed to be doing, as opposed to the work that you think that you want to do based on what someone else over there has said that you have to do. That's where I can see that life can really start to get easier and easier. But it's a matter of getting out of the scramble and learning how to be able to deal with yourself and sit in silence. Thank you. Johnny did bark a little bit back there. He's so much better. He's so much better. That's one thing that, we'll talk about a dog for half a second right now. But it's like everyone's got all the right answers of how to help you train the dog and do this with the dog and do that with it. But they don't actually have it. That's weird to me. I've been studying that like crazy. I guess that's why like dog training videos have been coming to me again recently. These guys are giving all this advice, but then when they have like their stuff that they live with, it's not able to do anything that they say that they're doing with these other people's dogs. It's one thing to like take a dog and play with it and put it away, and you had it for 3 weeks and it's like, woohoo, I did a good job with it. It's another thing to live with it for 3 or 4 or 5 years, 6 years, 20 years. And these folks that got all these dogs and all this, I'm the best. Their stuff is a mess. They can't get them to stop barking. They can't get them to stop jumping. They can't get them to stop being overexcited and obsessive. They can't get them to do nothing. The dogs are always just a hot mess. But they got all the answers of how to help you. That's why for me, straight up, why I just was very unmotivated with talking about these animals at all until, in reality, the past couple of months. Because my stuff was the same way. I'm sitting here trying to tell you how to get your dog to stop pulling on a leash, and mine's pulling. I'm trying to get you to tell you how to get your dog to stop barking at other dogs, and I wasn't really barking at the dogs at that time, but just, I got him to stop doing it, the first one, with just fear. And it made it worse. But he wasn't barking. So the public's perception, wow, the dog's not doing it anymore. He's good. But the background, what's going on at home was worse. Was so bad that it was just bad. It was really bad. It just sickened my stomach. But yeah, he didn't bark at dogs no more. That's the part that it's just, I know that how to help you with the dog. Because it's not going to come down to me controlling you, telling you, and dictating to you. It's going to be me saying to you, you need to sit in silence with that animal to figure out what you need to do. That's my advice to everybody. Don't worry about nothing, but do nothing with it. Hang out with it and have no expectations and just sit in silence with it. You're going to learn a lot. You're going to see a lot. You're going to understand a lot. When you just sit in silence. Shut the movie off and just sit there with them. It's the hardest thing to do. I don't know why it's so hard to do that today. That's the hardest thing to do. And me saying that is what I could say is a quality level of advice that I'm not trying to dictate nothing to you. And I'm not even trying to tell you to dictate nothing to that animal. But just understand who they are without demanding that they have to do something or be something. Just learn about who they are. This is stuff that I'm trying to translate into human-to-human relationships as well. That people used to just live in horrible, toxic disgusting, rageful marriages hundreds of years ago, and they're able to just get married and stay married for 60 years? Or are they actually just satisfied because they knew how to be able to be with each other with nothing else on, with nothing around, but just be with each other? So all this propaganda that women were suppressed and shut down and couldn't this and couldn't that, that's why they had to stay with their husbands. You know, there may be like 5-10% of something like that. I'd say 5%, not even 2 to 3% of stuff like that. But as far as the overall of it all, no.